Moving forward to the next topic would be the American colonial period and Puritan literature. So, to open this up, the American colonial period in literature spanning from the early 17th to the late 18th century encompasses a very rich tapestry of writings that capture the diverse experiences of settlers in North America. From the exploratory narratives of early adventurers to the theological musings of Puritan settlers and the political fervor of revolutionaries, this period reflects the multifaceted nature of colonial life. Captivity narratives shed light on the encounters between settlers and indigenous people, while political writings sow the seeds of revolution. Influenced by Enlightenment thought, some writers grapple with question of reason and individual liberty, while others explore the complexities of regional identities. Through sermons, diaries, poetry, and political pamphlets, the literature of the American colonial period lays the foundation for a distinctly American literary tradition. It is rooted in the experiences and aspirations of those who shaped the early history of the continent. One would be religious focus. The Puritan literature is deeply rooted in religious themes, with a primary emphasis on God's sovereignty, divine providence, and the individual's relationship with God. Puritan writers often viewed the world through a lens of religious duty and interpreted events as manifestations of God's will. The second one would be plain style. The Puritan writing typically employs a plain and straightforward style devoid of ornate language or rhetorical flourishes. This simplicity reflects the Puritan emphasis on humility, sincerity, and clarity of expression. Third one would be moral instruction. Puritan literature often serves as a vehicle for moral instruction, conveying ethical lessons and admonitions to readers. The sermons, diaries, and religious tracts frequently address moral concerns such as sin, redemption, and the pursuit of righteousness. The fifth is theological controversy. Puritan writers engage in theological debates and controversies with their own religious communities and with other Christian denominations. These discussions often revolved around issues such as the nature of grace, the role of the church, and the interpretation of scriptures. Sixth would be personal reflection. The Puritan literature is big and is frequently included personal reflections, confessions, and spiritual autobiographies. Just like writers like Anne Bradstreet and Edward Taylor explore their own spiritual journeys, struggles, and aspirations in their poetry and prose. The last one would be, of course, community values. Puritan literature reflects the importance of community life and communal values such as cooperation, mutual support, and collective worship. The Puritan writers often address the responsibilities of individuals within the community and the need for unity and solidarity. That is all for my report. I hope you learned a thing or two from me.
A pleasant day, everyone. So now let's tackle about the colonial nonfiction prose and essay. Colonial nonfiction prose and essay refers to the literary works that were written during the colonial period. This is a genre of literature which were written by colonists or individuals living under colonial rule, and the writings often provides first-hand accounts of the experiences, challenges, and perspectives of individuals during the colonial era. And they offer valuable insights and shedding light on the issues. Now, let's move on to the types of nonfiction prose and essays in the colonial period. As you can see on the screen, that are the various types of nonfiction prose and essays that were produced in the colonial period. First is we have letters. These were personal correspondences, often written by colonists to family members or friends back home. They provide insights into the experiences and challenges of colonial life. Second is journals or the diaries. Those were personal accounts of daily life, providing detailed insights into the experiences and perspectives of individuals during colonial period. Third is the autobiographies. These are the description or narration of the lives of significant individuals like leaders or influential figures in the colonial society. Autobiographies does not only works first-hand accounts of the author's lives but also offer valuable insight in the context of the colonial period. Fourth is we have sermons. A religious speeches provides insight into the religious beliefs and practices of the time, and these are often written by clergy or the religious official member. And last is the memoirs written by anyone who feels compelled to share their story and offer a unique perspective in life. Now let's dive into the notable authors and their works during the colonial period. Here are some of the authors. First, Anne Bradstreet from 1612 to 1672, and her work is aphorism. Second, John Winthrop from 1612 to 1672, and his works are autobiography. Third, Benjamin Franklin from 1206 to 1790, and his work is captivity narrative. Next is William Bradford from 1590 to 1657, and his works are the journals. Next is Jonathan Edwards from 1703 to 1758, and his work is lyrical poem. Philip Freneau from 1752 to 1832, and his work is narrative poem. Captain John Smith from 1580 to 1631, his work is satirical poem. And last is Phyllis Wheatley from 1753 to 1784, and his work is sermon. Now here is an example of the sermon called Sinners in the Hand of an Angry God by Jonathan Edwards. So the sermon centers the capacity for a personal religious experience and calls for adherents to confess their sins and seek for redemption without delay. Through the use of vivid imagery and metaphors, the sermon aims to motivate listeners and readers alike to take their impending judgment seriously and to seek God's grace. Now, the analysis of the sermon is that Edward structured his sermon to follow the logic of scriptural texts and theological arguments, yet layered this order with the emotional appeals to encourage his audience to engage in a more personal religious experience. Personal religious experience functioned at the core of Edwards and the Congregationalists' approach to Protestant Christianity during the First Great Awakening, which held the centrality of salvation from original sins and valued the role of preaching for conversion. Edwards' use of poetic language, metaphors, and imagery throughout the sermon creates an immediacy that underscores the spiritual urgency of acknowledging one's sinfulness to avoid condemnation to hell and instead find redemption. Thus, a key part of Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. Its purpose is to motivate listeners to immediate repentance of conversion.
Good day, everyone. I am Dia Marie Paderna, and I will be talking about Revolutionary Period literature or the Revolutionary Age. This happens in the year 1765 to 1790, beginning a decade before the Revolutionary War and ending about 25 years after. This period includes the writing of Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, James Madison, and Alexander Hamilton. This is arguably the richest period of political writing since classical antiquity. Important works during this period includes Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers, as well as the poetry of Joel Barlow and Philip Freneau. During this period, the majority of American writing was politically motivated, whether supportive of English rule or revolutionary in character. So here are the authors during the Revolutionary Period literature as well as their works. So first is we have Thomas Jefferson. He is the draftsman of the Declaration of Independence of the United States, and he is also the nation's first Secretary of State in the year 1789 to 94. He was also the second vice president in the year 1797 to 1801. He was born on April 2, 1743 at Shadwell, Virginia, U.S., as well as died in July 4 in 1826 at Monticello, Virginia, U.S. Another author is Thomas Paine. He is an English-American revolutionary born on January 19, 1737 at Thetford, Norfolk, England, and died on June 8, 1809 in New York, USA. He is an English-American writer, political pamphleteer whose Common Sense pamphlet and Crisis paper were important influences on the American Revolution. So another author from the Revolutionary period is James Madison. He is the fourth president of the United States in the year 1809 to 1817. He is one of the founding fathers of his country. At the Constitutional Convention in the year 1787, he influenced the planning and ratification of the U.S. Constitution and collaborated with Alexander Hamilton and John Jay of the publication of the Federalist Paper. Last author is Alexander Hamilton. He is the major author of the Federalist Papers, and he was also a New York delegate to the Constitutional Convention. Lastly, he is the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States in the year 1789 to 95. At this point, I will be giving an overview about the two important works during this period. First is the Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence is the founding document of the United States. It was approved by the Continental Congress on July 4, 1776, and announced the separation of 13 North American British colonies from Great Britain. It explained why the Congress on July 2 unanimously had resolved that these united colonies are, and of right ought, to be free, independent, and independent states. Another important work during this period is the Federalist Papers. The Federalist Papers, or also known Federalist 10 or the Federalist, in 1788 is a book form of publication of 77 of the 85 Federalist essays. It is a series of 85 essays on the proposed new constitution of the United States and on the nature of Republican government. It is published between 1787 and 1788 by Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay in an effort to persuade New York State's voters to support ratification. 77 of these essays first appeared serially in New York newspapers and were printed in most other states. It was also published in book form as The Federalist on May 28, 1788. The remaining 8 essays appeared in New York newspapers between June 14 and August 16, 1788.
These are the revolutionary patriotic speeches in American literature. Number 1, I Have a Dream by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Number 2, The Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. Number 3, Pearl Harbor Address to the Nation by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Number 4, Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death by Patrick Henry. Number 5, Ask Not What Your Country Can Do for You by John F. Kennedy. Number 6, Mr. Gorbachev, Tear Down These Walls by Ronald Reagan. Number 7, Franklin Roosevelt's First Inaugural Address. Number 8, I've Been to the Mountaintop by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Number 9, The Ballot or the Bullet by Malcolm X. And number 10, Cheeker's Speech by Richard Nixon.
Techniques and persuasive strategies. First, emotional appeal. One of the most powerful techniques in patriotic speeches is the use of emotional appeal. Speakers aim to evoke strong emotions in the audience by using passionate language, personal anecdotes, and vivid imagery. By tapping into the audience's emotions, speakers can create a deep connection and spur a sense of patriotism, love for the country, and shared values. Second, ethos. Establishing credibility and trustworthiness is crucial in persuasive speeches. Speakers often draw on their own experiences, expertise, or positions of authority to build their ethos. They may also reference historical figures or events to strengthen their arguments and demonstrate their understanding of the subject matter. Third, logos. Logical reasoning and evidence play a significant role in persuasive speeches. Speakers use facts, statistics, historical reference, and logical arguments to support their claims. By presenting a well-reasoned and logical argument, speakers aim to convince the audience of the validity of their message. Fourth, pathos. Appeals to the audience emotions are essential in patriotic speeches. Speakers share personal stories, use powerful metaphors, and employ storytelling techniques to create an emotional connection with the audience. By appealing the audience's emotions, speakers can inspire empathy, compassion, and a shared sense of purpose. Fifth, repetition. Repetition is a rhetorical technique often used in patriotic speeches. By repeating key phrases, slogans, or ideas, speakers reinforce their message and make it more memorable. This technique helps to emphasize important points, create a sense of unity, and instill a sense of purpose in the audience. 6. Call to action. A persuasive speech is incomplete without a call to action. Speakers conclude their speeches by urging the audience to take specific steps or make a commitment to support a cause or bring about change. By providing a clear call to action, speakers motivate the audience to act upon the speaker's message and actively participate in achieving the shared goals. 7. Inclusive language. The use of inclusive language is crucial in patriotic speeches. Speakers employ pronouns such as we, us, and our to create a sense of unity and shared purpose among the audience. This fosters a feeling of collective responsibility and encourages individuals to identify with the speaker's message, strengthening the overall impact. 8. 8. Contrast. Speakers often use contrast to highlight the difference between the current situation and the desired outcome. By juxtaposing, contrasting ideas or examples, speakers emphasize the urgency of the message and the need for change. This technique helps to capture the audience's attention and compels them to take action. 9. Metaphors and similes. Metaphors and similes are powerful rhetorical devices used to make complex ideas more relatable and accessible to the audience. By using vivid comparisons, speakers create mental images that help convey the speaker's message in a memorable and engaging way. And number 10, humor. Appropriately using humor can be an effective tool in patriotic speeches. Humor helps to engage the audience and create a positive and light-hearted atmosphere. It can also help the speaker establish rapport with the audience, make the message more relatable, and enhance the audience's receptiveness to the speaker's ideas. Symbolism. In the whistle itself serves as a powerful symbol representing superficial desires and the pursuit of fleeting pleasures. The shiny and attractive appearance of the whistle captivates the narrator, leading him to prioritize it over other toys that might offer more lasting satisfaction. The whistle symbolizes the allure of material possessions and the tendency of individuals to be swayed by external appearances rather than intrinsic value. Allegory. The whistle functions as an allegory for the folly of human pursuit and the pursuit of happiness. The narrator's experience with whistle serves as a metaphor for the broader human tendency to chase after superficial desires without considering their true worth. Through the narrator's reflection on his childhood folly, Benjamin Franklin conveys a deeper moral lesson about the importance of discernment, moderation, and self-awareness in the pursuit of happiness. Themes. The central themes of the whistle revolve around desire, happiness, and self-awareness. The story explores the nature of desire and the tendency of individuals to be misled by superficial attractions. It also addresses the pursuit of happiness and the realization that our true fulfillment does not come from material possessions but from wisdom and self-awareness. Additionally, the story touches on the theme of moderation and the importance of exercising prudence in one's actions and choices. The Whistle by Benjamin Franklin also explores the themes of frugality and simplicity. These themes are closely tied to the moral lessons conveyed in the story. Frugality is emphasized in the narrative through the contrast between the narrator's initial desire for the shiny and expensive whistle and his eventual realization of its true worthlessness. The narrator's pursuit of the whistle represents a frivolous and wasteful expenditure, highlighting the importance of being prudent with one's resources. The story encourages readers to consider the value and necessity of material possessions, urging them to prioritize practicality and over superficial desires. Simplicity is another significant theme in The Whistle. Benjamin Franklin, known for his advocacy of a simple and practical lifestyle, incorporates this value into the story. The whistle allure and the narrator's initial fascination with it symbolize the temptation to pursue unnecessary complexity and extravagance. Through the narrator's reflection on his past actions, the story encourages readers to embrace simplicity and avoid being swayed by superficial attractions. Both frugality and simplicity are virtues that align with Benjamin Franklin's broader philosophy of self-empowerment and practical wisdom. By emphasizing these themes in the Whistle, Franklin encourages readers to consider the importance of mindful consumption, moderation, and the pursuit of genuine happiness through simplicity and frugality. Characterization. Although the Whistle is a short anecdote, the narrator's characterization is essential to conveying the story's message. The narrator's youthful enthusiasm and impulsive desire for the whistle illustrate the universal experience of being drawn to superficial attraction. As the narrator reflects on his past actions, he demonstrates growth and introspection, ultimately learning a valuable lesson about the true nature of happiness. Narrative structure. Benjamin Franklin employs a simple and straightforward narrative structure, the whistle. The story begins with the narrator recounting a childhood experience and progress through a conversation with a fellow narrator's reflections. This conversational style enhances the accessibility of the narrative and reinforces its moral message through direct dialogue and anecdotal storytelling. Lastly, cultural and historical context. The Whistle reflects Benjamin Franklin's background as a prominent figure of the American Enlightenment, a period characterized by intellectual curiosity, rational inquiry, and a focus on self-improvement. Franklin's emphasis on values such as frugality, prudence, and self-awareness resonates with the broader cultural and philosophical current of the time. Additionally, Franklin owns experiences as a self-made man, and his writings on virtue and moral conduct provide valuable context for interpreting the moral lessons embedded within the whistles. Overall, The Whistle by Benjamin Franklin is a timeless parable that offers valuable insights into human nature, desire, and the pursuit of happiness. Through its rich symbolism, allegorical elements, thematic depth, and nuanced characterization, the story continues to resonate with readers, prompting reflection on the enduring truth of human experiences.